I have a repeat guest. It's not the first repeat guest, but I think he's the first repeat coach guest. Layton Christian Academy has won the 4A state championship. And so I'm going to be joined by Coach Casey Stanley. We'll talk a little bit about the season. And then we also just want to talk a little bit about some of the players that he played against and some of the cool things that he's seen, being his very first year here coaching in Utah. I think you're going to be really excited to hear what he has to say and how impressed he is with our state. Let's get going. This is the Utah High School Hoops Podcast, your source for sometimes informative, but always entertaining coverage of the Utah High School Hoops scene. With your host, Adam Meek. I feel like, Coach, I got to be playing "We Are the Champions" by Queen or some sort of song in the background to welcome you in to the podcast as your first season. You guys went out and won a championship. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I might say this podcast has become a lot more professional since my first go around. I mean, we have intro music, this is great. We got ad reads. I mean, come on, this is
no, I mean, I will say the podcast has gotten more professional. The background has gotten better, but the host is still just as bad. Yeah. And so I'm only getting slightly better. And you know what? We're full circle. So I can even say like the guests have stayed pretty much mediocre as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. And you talk about music. Well, I gotta tell you, so we're one day now removed from the state championship game. And I'm gonna be honest, I've never in my life, and my players know this, and definitely my wife knows this. I've never gone into a game in my entire life where I thought I was gonna win. I am consumed, and you know this because I complain to you constantly about my team and about the upcoming games. But, I literally think I consume myself with everything that's going to go wrong and every way that team's going to beat us. So I just get wrapped up and okay, all right, I know they're just going to bang 12 threes. We got to guard the 3-point line. And I just become obsessed with that. So, I was in my normal game day routine yesterday, and I'm just like, man, I don't know. They're so good. They're so talented. They're so well coached. And I come upstairs because we stayed in an Airbnb close to Utah Valley just to make the whole travel and the short turnarounds easier. And I come upstairs, and somehow Marcus Miles has gotten control of the aux. And we are going Billy Joel, we are going Michael Jackson, and we are going the Rocky soundtrack before the game. And amazingly enough, I come upstairs and there's 10, 11 players in our living room singing along and dancing along to Michael Jackson. And for 1 second, I said, you know what? I think we're in the right mindset to go out and win this game. That was the moment when I saw Big Allen singing Billie Jean. I knew, you know what? We have a chance today.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. And even afterwards, I mean, we can talk about the game, and I'm sure we can talk a little bit about the championship game and kind of the playoff run. But I do think before the call, we were talking about that day. So you talk about Marcus Miles and just, his journey, but I did not realize, I saw the post on Instagram that you went to his LDS mission calling. I didn't realize that was after the game. So before the game, he's got Billie Jean, and he's got some Michael Jackson, some Billy Joel, and then after the game, tell me a little bit about that. That was an incredible story.
So it starts with 9 a.m. Me and Marcus doing a one-on-one sing along of Piano Man. Then it goes to a state championship win, where he's guarding one of the best guards in the state.
Yeah, John Rosevier.
Yeah. And then from there, first of all, he was the leader in the celebration in the locker room. I mean, I've never seen a kid like that in my life. And then we drive straight to the school because we had to drop off the bags first. So it was a 6 p.m. game. We drop off the bags. His mission calling, he needs to be there at 10 p.m. in a full suit, mind you, in a full suit. And so he hustles. So we drop the bags off. And then as a team, we go to his mission calling. And I've never seen a kid run so fast to put on a suit. But I'll give a secret. Okay, you've seen that picture, right, Adam?
Mhm.
He is wearing a full suit, except he's not wearing shoes. I've never seen this before. He's wearing a full suit with just athletic socks, bare feet in his house. I think it ruined the whole aesthetic for me.
Where was he? Where was his mission? Was that your first time going to a mission calling? I've never been to one myself, but
I have never been. It was definitely an experience. I mean, like the fact that he has this many friends in his life is unbelievable. I mean, literally there was like 400 people in this house. I mean, it was crazy. I will say this though. I don't know, and I've my wife has told me I need to ask where they got these treats from. But like the cookies and the Rice Krispie treats were it was some of the I've literally been fiending for these Rice Krispie treats all day. They were so good. It was my favorite part of yesterday, and I won a state title.
Oh my gosh, the Rice Krispie treats. That
The Rice Krispie treats. They were like rainbow. Like he had the normal ones, but they were like a rainbow Rice Krispie treat. That was unbelievable.
Man, the Miles family coming through in the clutch.
Yeah.
Just like the LCA Eagles. Well, we could go back through the entire season, and we don't have to do that at all. But I know, your season wasn't, just like the easiest thing in the world, right? You had a whole bunch of things you had to overcome. You got guys the fact they even knew all the lyrics to a song, an English song, is incredible, because LCA is full of international students, and I could tell sitting at the game, and I was like, I don't know what they're chanting behind me, but everybody seems to know whatever. It was like I was at an English Premier League game or something like that. They're loud and they're passionate, and I think it is one of the most beautiful things about this state is that we've begun to see an influx of really wonderful diversity from various different cultures into the state. But talk to me a little bit about overcoming, some of these barriers, and to get to where you got to at the end of it. What was that like for you as your first year coaching a high school team, even, right? I mean, this is
First year as a head coach, first year anything. I mean, I was learning as I went. And honestly, I would tell the guys, I would take, I mean, one of our losses was a blowout loss to Wasatch. But then I would say that the other two losses were 100% on me. My players were 26-0 and I was 0-2. And it's the responsibility, me being green as a coach, me being inexperienced as a coach, cost us 2 games. But they won us 26. And that's, I think that's part of it as that I learned as a head coach. You always got to be prepared. You always got to have all the answers. And, as good as and talented as my guys are, I failed them twice, but, honestly, at the end of the day, they are tremendous basketball players. They're tremendous kids. They're tremendous students. We had over a 3.4 GPA in that first semester, and they're extremely motivated kids. If you got to be, if you're making that decision and you're making that, you want to leave home and leave your family and experience something new, you have to be extremely motivated in order to do it. And that just isn't on the basketball court. That's as a student, that's as a person. Obviously the school's mission is teaching Christianity and teaching the love of Jesus. So that's always something that the school puts, on the front burner and kind of, is very serious about. And so, and our kids have embraced it, and it's fantastic. And, I think we played a very challenging schedule. We went out to Vegas, played some really good teams in the Tarkanian. We went out to California, and I think every team we played in California had a 24-5 record. Now that I look back on the season, I thought we played in a very difficult region. I think we tried to challenge our team as much as possible. And, we had some injuries throughout the year. That becomes even Tyron Jones, 2 days before the playoffs start, Tyron hurt his ankle really, really badly, to the point where I didn't think he was going to be able to play. And we brought him to our trainer, and pretty much he suggested, Tyron, you need to take some time off on this ankle. Like if you're doing this right, you should probably sit out and just rest and get ready for the AAU season. And Tyron, the kind of kid he is, number one, he's a really tough kid, but number two, he's extremely loyal. loyal to his teammates, loyal to his school. And, he pretty much said, no, it's my decision. I want to play. And it was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. The kid taught himself to tape his own ankles so he can practice, which, is, and to me, obviously you look at Tyron Jones and you think, oh, okay, he's definitely, a high Division I player, because of his skills, his athleticism, just his size, his length, all that stuff. Well, to be honest, you're never quite sure. When I saw him willing to do that and the dedication he had and the toughness he had to persevere and play in that state playoffs and have a really good championship game, I mean, that answered all the questions I needed from him.
Yeah, no doubt. And, I think you saw some of that, probably some of that injury come out, because I didn't realize he was injured. But, watching, like, for example, the Murray game, I was like, I even asked, I was like, well, I wonder what's going on with Tyron, because he just looked like he was not the same Tyron that I had seen play at the Tart Classic, as an example. Makes a ton of sense now, right? He's out there on one leg, just, giving everything he can. And he left it all out there. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And that Murray team is Coach Workman has just done an incredible job with those guys. They were right there in it with you. My favorite part of the game, honestly, and maybe this is just because I'm a little bit old school, but I loved the kind of the talking, right? Like, Isaiah Bay and Tyron, they weren't like being jerks about it, but they were just
cross the line. They were both competitive and they wanted to win. And that kid is, by the way, that Murray team, I can go on for days about them. First of all, blown away. I got a coaching lesson that day. The Coach Workman, he definitely gave me a lesson there, which was something that I'm gonna hold on to. I told him that after the game. I said I should have had a notebook and pad over there. It was a coaching clinic. And Isaiah Bay.
By the way, I did text somebody. They said, "How's the game going?" And I think it was in the third quarter. And my exact quote was, "I think Casey's getting out Workman right now."
Oh, it was. I'm telling you,
he was clinical, man. He is his team. They are incredibly well coached, no doubt.
No, and I told him that was the first thing I said to him in the handshake line is there's a reason you have a lot of wins, sir. And I found out today. But then Isaiah Bay, he's such a super player. And the fact that he's only a sophomore, I mean, he is a really, really good player and can score in a bunch of ways and tough kid. And I mean, that team, I mean, gave me everything we could handle. And then some. I mean, they were in control of it 27-20 and at the half, and then they even had the lead with 2 minutes to go. And we get a broken play 3 by Luka, who was unbelievable for us this week. But if he doesn't hit that shot, Murray could be state champs right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Let's talk a little bit about Luka. He was in the immediate aftermath. I had my phone out, obviously, and I was just recording. And Luka was the most joyful and jovial, and I mean it. And he plays with this sort of like playful intensity. It almost seems like, right? Like he seems very serious about the game, but also has moments where, and I'm sure you've seen plenty of these moments where they either drive you crazy or you're super glad he's on your team. But man, he came out in that second half of the Murray game, and you guys ran him off a double pick, right? And he hit the 3, and he was incredible in the second half of that game. I got to interview him a little bit. But man, he picked up that trophy and he was just like, and he was speaking, pretty sure it was Serbian. I don't know why he would be speaking another language.
That'd be weird if he was.
What's that?
That'd be weird if he was speaking like French or Spanish.
Yeah, no, it would have been Croatian. I don't know. But yeah, so talk a little bit about Luka and his kind of growth and maturity as a player. He seemed to be somebody who, early on was, shot. He took a lot of shots, probably some, C- D+ shots. I didn't see as many of those in the state playoff game. Seemed like he was more in control, but still had that shooter's mindset of like, the next shot's going in, I'm going to let it fly.
Yeah. So, Luke is such an interesting kid because, obviously these kids are coming from all over the country and I don't know them until I meet them. So I like the first day. And I think now I know, because I didn't know what I was getting myself into. The first day of school next year, I am so excited for it because you just kind of walk around and you're like, all right, who's tall? Like it's like you don't even know who's coming back, who's around. So I see, and he's got, obviously he's like 6'5", 6'6". So I'm like, okay, I got a shot. So I walk up, I introduce myself. Hey, I'm Casey Stanley. I'm the basketball coach. And he goes, oh, I'm a basketball player. I go, great. That's a great start. I said, so are you any good? He said, I don't know, coach. Why don't you watch my highlights? So he shows me his highlights. And he actually went to a school, I believe it was in Connecticut, okay, like a prep school in Connecticut. And his highlights are just him running around, taking some of the worst shots I've ever seen, like kicking his leg out, shooting from 35 feet. And obviously it's a highlight film, so he's making it.
Yeah.
But I'm an astute enough basketball observer to wonder, if you're taking these 35-foot bombs off one leg, I'm sure some of these you're missing too. And how does your coach feel when you're taking that shot? And I'm like looking at the shot clock, and there's like, there's 29 on the shot clock. I'm not sure this is the best shot I've ever seen. So I knew from that moment that I would have my hands full with that young man. And it was quite a journey. And his shot selection got a lot better, I'll say that. Now, in the championship game, we're up, I'd say 6 with like 2 minutes to go. And he gets a rebound, and he's trying to dribble up, and they're like trapping him. I think he thinks they're going to foul him, but he's like trying to dribble through the trap, and he like tries to dribble through 4 people and dribbles out of bounds.
Yep.
And his momentum carries him
right to you,
to an inch of my face. And I just put my hands on his shoulder. I put my nose to his nose, and I very gently said, Luka, stop dribbling. He just looked me in the eyes. He said, okay. And he went back and played. But it was literally, he stopped an inch from my face. So I met him that extra inch, and I put we were nose to nose. I said, Luka, stop.
Oh
dribbling.
my gosh. I totally remember that moment too. Cause that was like, they're having a quite romantic moment over there. Cause I remember that entire play.
Yeah.
Well, he was huge. We've talked about Tyron, Marcus, Otavio, just, steps up to the line. It's the championship game. It's crunch time, and you got to make some free throws. And, not only that, but I mean, he was hitting some tough shots like that. He's a kid that I got to see play a little bit last year on club basketball. Not a lot, but I got a little bit familiar with his game. Talk a little bit about Otavio. Was he a junior this year? I can't remember.
No, he's a senior.
He's a senior. Okay.
So this is what I'm going to say about Otavio. I have never been around a more selfless kid in my entire life. And to be fair, I actually haven't had this conversation with him yet. And I probably should. It's not good to reveal something on a podcast that I haven't shared with him.
We're 18 minutes in. The kids all listen to this for 90 seconds, and then they go, I listen to your podcast. It's like,
exactly. Yeah. They're going to repost it a couple times, but no one's actually going to listen. But I'm going to say this about Otavio, and I say to college coaches all the time. I go, listen, that kid last year made third team All-State. This year, new coach, new system. He let Tyron Jones turned in from a gangly sophomore into a legitimate player. Allen is now on the team as a legitimate post threat that needs the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Luka needs his shots.
Yeah, 35 one leg.
Yeah, on one leg. Otavio took it, and I didn't even ask him to do this, but took it upon himself to like totally downgrade the amount of shots he took, the amount of totally played winning basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you look at his numbers, if you compare it from his junior year to his senior year, it looks like his numbers went down, or at least his scoring went down. But it was purely, listen, there's a 32-minute game. I've got a bunch of really good players around me. I don't need to shoot. I want to win. That's all that kid cared about. And it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. First of all, he had a great final 8 to 10 games. Like he looked like one of the best players in the state, the final 8 to 10 games. But he took it upon himself to turn himself into not a good, but a great defender. Mm-hmm. I had enough faith in him that I put him on Chris Cox in the championship game from the get-go. Okay. And to turning great at deflections, steals, great passer. He had multiple 4 or 5 assist games. rebounding, literally doing anything I asked of that kid, and allowed himself to go down in shots his senior year. And that kid is one of every winning team has a kid like that. And to see him have a playoffs like he did, be my leading scorer in a championship game, he's a 2-time state champion now. I mean, that kid is going to go places. And he could have very easily fallen into the trap that a lot of seniors do and say, all right, I got to average 18 points a game. I got to average 20 points a game to go where I want to go. Not that kid, man. And he was a captain, and he was a captain for a real reason. And not to interrupt, but of all the things that OT does great, he also manages our social media, and that is the most important aspect of anything he does. I mean, I had a free unpaid worker all year. He does all the graphics, all the social media, so I am in desperate need of a new social media guy.
All right, well, maybe Tyron can work on it in the off season.
No, I've challenged the guys on the team. I said somebody's got to get really good at Photoshop in the off season.
There's a bunch of JV kids who are like, this is my way in.
I'm telling you, a kid will make it if he can Photoshop a game day edit for me.
Well, there was a play that kind of perfectly, I think, summarized, and I captured it on my phone because I was sitting kind of right there on the baseline, and Otavio drives in. I want to say there was like a minute and 40 seconds left or something like that. It was a 4 or 5 point game in the championship, and he gets in totally under control. Tyron's guy, jumps down to help, jump stops off 2 feet, doesn't charge into a guy, doesn't try to force up the big shot, kicks it out to Tyron lays a 3 from the corner, bumps the lead up to like 7 or 8. It was a huge momentum swing in the game. And, it just sort of perfectly summarized exactly what you described with Otavio, right? Just a kid who he's going to do whatever it takes to win. And I was going to actually ask you about him guarding Chris Cox, because I only got there at halftime, and I saw that, and I was like, wow, okay, let's see how this goes. And it went pretty well. I mean, Chris is still going to go. Chris is a Division I player, right? He's going to score, but Otavio made it hard with his length and with his positioning.
Well, let me do you one better about that play that you described first, because that could be my favorite play of the entire state tournament. Okay. It is Otavio, who I was told is just a shooter, that has developed this game enough to the fact that he can reject the pick and roll, get downhill, be under control.
With his left, by the way.
With his left.
Yep.
Yeah. Reject the pick and roll, going left, get downhill, get 2 feet in the paint, jump stop, under control, deliver a pass to a guy that I was told could never shoot, who makes a 3. And that's what really put the game out of reach. Yep. Like, if you want to talk about a play as a coach and someone, obviously I come from the Bettino family tree, and we stress individual instruction and betterment and getting your game to the best, and seeing that in my first year, honestly is enough to make me emotional. And that's not even a joke, to see that kid, Otavio, who I was told, okay, all he can do is shoot. And then to see him make that play, and to see Tyron, who I was told, this kid will never be able to shoot, making that shot with that game on the line, is something fantastic. And, obviously you look, touching on Otavio's defense on Chris Cox, you look at, and he's a fantastic player. Fantastic player. Utah State's getting a steal. He's so versatile how he does. He plays at a great pace. He doesn't get sped up. He's a really good decision maker. In the second half, he did a great job. They switched him on Allen, and he did a great job neutralizing Allen a little bit too. And I'm blown away with him as a player. But so a big part of our game plan is I have so much respect for the guys around Chris Cox that, I think Cottonwood does so much, has so much success when they're driving and kicking the shooters and getting them looks and dumping it off to their big kid, Peter, number 21, who's really talented himself. And I have such respect for the guys that play with Chris Cox that, part of our game plan was basically to we're not going to help, we're going to keep the floor space. We're going to limit those guys' attempts. We're going to have, we're going to let Chris Cox get cleaner looks than a lot of teams have given him. but we're just going to try and limit the guys around him as best we can. And I think that was a big part of it. So, Octavio, I mean, I'll say held him to 26 because it was pretty much a one-on-one game for OT. So, it was the fact that he was willing to take that challenge on. And it also shows, OT's gained a lot of weight, a lot of muscle, a lot of strength. Just getting ready for that moment. So, I'm going to be honest, I couldn't be more happy with a kid like that. And, now I'm going to spend, the rest of my months telling that to every college coach that's going to listen to me. So.
Yeah. So I was going to ask, does he have any, I think he's got a couple of offers, if I recall.
Yeah.
But I was curious what his plans were for.
No, I mean, he's currently talking to a few different coaches and has a few different options. And, I think he's in the mode where he's trying to find the right fit and trying to find, he's obviously a really good basketball player, but he's also like a 4.0 student. And, I also talked about, obviously his ability to do Photoshop. And he's told me that this year has kind of lit a fire under him, that being a graphic designer or something he might be really interested in. And, and he keeps offering to help me with the social media next year, but he keeps saying I'm gonna have to pay him. So I'm gonna do all kinds of possible options before I go to be paying him.
We're gonna have the fundraiser. We're gonna see the LCA fundraiser just to pay Octavio.
To pay OT. It's funny.
That's great. Well, yeah, I mean, Coach, we could probably go all the way down your roster. We didn't touch on guys like Timmy, who had to fight through. He had a pretty bad injury, if I recall.
Yeah, he got hurt during the football season, and he's another. And what's funny is like, I guess there was a little bit of miscommunication because it was like leading into the Tyron's injury. And I'm talking to Timmy, and he's like, well, yeah, if he tells the trainer that he wants to play, it's his decision, and the trainer can't stop him. And I said, well, why do you say that to me? He's like, well, the trainer told me I shouldn't be playing either. I go, what? When did that happen? And then he's like, oh, no, that happened before the season started. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm glad I knew that.
Yeah, that dude though, Timmy he's as tough as they come. You know what I'm saying? Just physically, he is a strong, fast, physical basketball player. But just a kid that has impressed me for a while in terms of, how he steps out to play the game. If you want to talk, he's a senior as well, correct?
He's a senior as well.
Yeah. Who are the other seniors? So you had Octavio. Is Luca a senior?
Luca's a senior.
Okay. Timmy,
you could have gotten on Max Preps for all this.
I know. Well, yeah, okay. But that would require me to do research.
Yeah, I got you. I got a little show prep. Okay.
No, there's zero. I had the coach from Enterprise, right? They won 2A, and I felt bad because I was live looking things up because it was before my workday started. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this interview, and then I have a job.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't just get to coach kids.
Yeah,
I have to
I just hang out. I just roll the balls out. I don't do any prep.
Yeah, you just said if you weren't there, they would have been 28-0.
I know. I ruined the season. I ruined our perfect season. So it's Timmy, Luca, Octavio,
Marcus,
Vuk, who started a bunch of games at the 4. And was able to play the 4 and the 5, and Connor Burrows, a young man from Australia who I don't know if this is technically correct. I don't know what makes you, but he's a professional surfer.
Okay.
I don't know if to be a professional you have to. I don't know what qualifies you as one. He might just be a really good surfer, and I call him professional. But for example, when we were in that trip to California. And I told the guys, hey, we got a late game, so we're gonna head to the beach. And literally, I've never seen somebody's face light up more in my life. I'm like, Connor, what's going on? He goes, Coach, it's been 4 months since I've been to the beach. I'm so excited. He needed a taste of it. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
I love it. That's great. And so let's kind of wrap it up here with a little bit about next year. So like you kind of mentioned. We're not going to address all of the nonsense, but there's this idea that you're just out in Europe at NBA camps or whatever it is, grabbing these kids, but you're no, they come to school here and I don't meet them until till they're already at school, and then I have to figure out who we're going to have.
Well, first of all, let me start by clearing up the rumors. I don't even have a passport. So that's step one. I don't even own a passport. I've never been outside the United States. So that's a little something for you. Yeah. And the unique thing, and I've explained this to a bunch of people about LCA, is the retention is not great, like the student retention, and not anything wrong with the school. It's, if you're committing to spending this much money to send your kids, across first of all, you get kids that are homesick. Then you got parents who, obviously budget a certain money for tuition, and then they go through a whole year and they go, yeah, that's a lot of money for tuition. And so it's year to year retention is really bad. So, I thought you were going to ask me to preview next year, and I can't even tell you.
I was going to say, because you don't even know, you don't
I
know
have no idea. I have no idea. And it's one of the most unique things. Like, I had 100 kids that came to LCA this year with the goal of playing basketball. So it's a lot, and it's a lot to shift through, and kind of try to figure out as it goes. And I truly do not know who makes the team until like that the cut day. I really don't have a feel for who's going to make it, who's going to have. I could have all point guards show up, and I don't have one kid that can play down low. I mean, you just never know year to year what you're going to get.
Yeah, which is it's just the reality of the school at which you're coaching, and for this year, it worked, Coach. They won 26 games. You lost 2. So your record is 0-2, and the players are all gonna, go out there. I could see.
No, they're 26-1. They lost. Well, I mean, we lost the Wasatch game by 40. So we can all take.
Oh yeah, okay. You guys can you collaborate.
Yeah, we'll share that one. So
all right,
they're 26-1, and I am 0-3.
Okay. That's fair. I'll take that. Well, Coach, I hope you're able to celebrate. Obviously, your whole team got to go to Marcus's
those Rice Krispie treats are all I need. That's it. I'm good. I celebrated enough. I'm ready for next year now.
If anyone knows where these Rice Krispie treats are, please deliver them to the Stanley household. Coach, I really hope you're able to enjoy it and get to watch some great college basketball. We got some conference tournaments coming up, and then March Madness is always great. So hope you're able to enjoy a little bit of that, and enjoy your family. And, huge congratulations to you and all of LCA for making it happen. It's not easy.
Appreciate it, man. And honestly, at the end of the day, and I say this, but I am what you do for the kids of Utah, for high school basketball in Utah, is so important, because, listen, they need as much coverage and attention as possible. You truly love it. You want what's right for the kids. You're fair, unbalanced, that kind of stuff. I think it's great. I mean, there's so much good basketball in the state of Utah. So many good players. I never realized how many good players were in this state until I just went through a year, obviously watching kind of all, because now I became obsessed with Utah basketball. I'm coming home at night and I'm going to say, all right, what 5A games on? What 6A games on?
Are you going out tomorrow? You're going to go down to the Huntsman Center?
So no, my wife would kill me if I left with our toddler after the season and tell her I'm going to watch high school basketball. But YouTube, everything's on YouTube. So I just sit there all night.
KSL Sports Rewind, all of it.
They do a great job. So, honestly, at the end of the day, I've become obsessed with it, like everybody who does it. But there's so many great players in this state that college coaches need to find out about. I'm doing my best to spread news, not just for my players, but people I see watching film, people I hear about. I'm out there, of all levels. Hey, I heard about this kid. And obviously I want to help the kids, but I have friends that are still in the business that I'm trying to help and help find good players. And more importantly, there are so many good coaches in Utah. I mean, it's honestly, I've learned so much this year, and, things other coaches do and the way they call a game. And, there are things that frustrate me that I didn't have a great year and it's only my first year doing, and I know I'm like, all right, next year I'm gonna be better at this, this, and this. And it's been such a great experience for me. And at the end of the day, I am beyond appreciative of Leighton Christian for giving me this opportunity to be a head coach. And it's everything I dreamed of, and to have it end with a championship is very storybook.
I love it. Well, I'll let you let me in on a little secret about your passport. I'll let you in a little secret. I'll only do this for the money. And if everyone can help me out and go to verbalcommits.com, use promo code Utah, get yourself 10% off. And I will make a solid $2, I think, potentially off of that. So you'd really be, helping me get rich. It's the only reason I do this podcast is just to get rich and be like Scrooge McDuck, swimming in gold coins.
Yeah, only the $2 coins though. That's
just the $2. Yeah, just the $2 coins. Well, I appreciate you saying that, and I couldn't agree more. As you know, you're obviously newer to Utah, but I've been here now for 6 years, and I've also been just completely blown away by the community of people. I just started this podcast on a whim, and just it's a really awesome community. The basketball community is just like any community. It's got people that I'm just like, but 99.9% of the people and the players and the coaches have been great. So I'm glad you've had the same experience as I have, and maybe we'll just have to do it again for round 2, year 2 of Coach Stanley up at LCA. We'll definitely get you back on. I had 2 coaches on at the start, just 2. I had you and Coach Sanyan Kolovrat. So I'm just saying, coaches, you got to get on the podcast early, because clearly there's some sort of like podcast magic that spreads to you and your team when you're on the show early in the season. It's really what wins you the state championship.
And by the way, can I share because I didn't get a huge opportunity to watch Judge during the year, but I was tuned in for your guys' run, and I'm telling you, what a fun team to watch. I mean, it's such a great style. The shooting the ball like that, the speed in which you guys play, the confidence in which your players play with. The Judge guys. That was good viewing, and I'm mad at myself for not getting enough Judge games in earlier in the year.
Yeah, it's fine. They were 5-12, so maybe there were some games that you might have watched me like, I don't know about these guys. No, but they obviously they pulled it together, and that was super fun. So and they had 1 senior on the team, by the way. Well, they had 2 seniors. They had 2 seniors, but JP is going to be a great coach someday, but he played sparingly. But yeah, Aiden Saucedo is the only senior. So hopefully everyone comes back and they can run it back again. So it should be fun.
And by the way, that kid might be one of the best shooters in the state of Utah. That kid can shoot the thing. Oh my God.
Yep. Yeah. I should have a whole podcast episode devoted to the season that Aiden Saucedo had. It was similar to Otavio. Mm-hmm. He was leading, he was the guy. And, coming into his senior year, you got someone like JJ Apathjane coming in, who's now going to be the point guard, and you were the point guard, and you got to learn to play off ball, and you're not going to have the ball in your hands a lot. And he still had just obviously a massive impact on every game. So love me. I'm rooting for Aiden. He's going to, the Puget Sound University, Division III.
I was going to say your lack of preparation got you again.
No, I remembered that one. I wasn't planning on talking about Aiden, but I'm happy to do it. You got to stay on it. Oddly enough, I for some reason I was looking up the Loyola Marymount team on Verbal Commit. So I'm prepared to talk about their 2025 and 2026 offers, but that we're never going to get to that. That's okay.
That's a shame, because I was ready too.
You were so ready. I was talking to someone about Bo Kimball and Hank Gathers, and I was like, I wonder, and I pulled it up, and it's just on my screen. But anyway, well, Coach, we're at 8:30, which for me is like almost bedtime. And I'm sure with a toddler, this is either time to spend with your wife, or
we just successfully put her down. I had to slide it back because her bedtime's 6:30, but normally she refuses until at least 7:15. So I had to build in that extra time.
Yeah, brother, it's Godspeed. You know, we're on the other side of that a little bit with our 5 kids, but they still have plenty of nights where they're just like, I can't fall asleep, and you're like, okay, well. And then we have teenagers who it's like, please just go to bed.
Please.
We just want to know that you made it. Just know that you made it into your bed successfully, and we'll chalk this one up to another win. Well, Coach, thanks again. You know, I'm sure we'll stay in touch through the summer, and you know, we'll have to have you on again when you know your roster on day 4 of tryouts.
Yeah, give me a few months before I get back to that.
Yeah, we will. All right, Coach. Well, thanks for coming on again. I really appreciate it.